Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for Crime 2 News First at 4. I'm Whitney Ward.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's kick things off with a look at the forecast because temperatures around the inland Northwest crept into the 90s today as much of the country faces triple digits.
It heated up very quickly, so we want to send things over to our meteorologist, Michelle Boss, as we look at what's coming.
Well, this is the time of year where we start saying hot and sunny multiple times, and every once in a while we'll sprinkle in a chance for some dry lightning. That is the season that we are in, and here's a look at our temperatures across the region. Widespread 90s across the inland Northwest. It looks like the highest temperature right now in Lewiston at 98 degrees. They're closing in on the 100-degree mark there. 92 in Spokane, in the upper 80s, even as far north as Sandpoint, 95 in Omak, and 95 in Wenatchee. We do have a little bit of a breeze, at least here in Spokane. That might take the edge off the heat just a little bit, but for the most part, winds are under 10 miles per hour across the region. Nothing to talk about here. Satellite and radar image. Our loop here, hardly a cloud in the sky and certainly no precipitation, but we could see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms Thursday night and Friday morning. In the short term, though, just a dry, sunny evening with temperatures still in the upper 80s at 8 o'clock. We will finally cool it down, though, into the upper 50s and lower 60s. So nice. We'll cool it down overnight, be back up into the 90s tomorrow. Isolated showers and thunderstorms through Friday morning, and we'll give you a little bit of a cool down on Friday and Saturday, but after that, we're going to be back in the 90s.
All right. Thank you very much, Michelle. And right now, about 120 million Americans are facing excessive heat warnings and advisories.
The heat is driving wildfires all across the country. Nationwide, approximately 85 fires are burning in 13 states. Intense conditions are gripping parts of Texas, California, and Arizona. They are facing record-breaking temperatures.
So in the Northeast, temperatures now are running 10 to 15 degrees above average. The National Weather Service says climate patterns are driving warmer, drier conditions. It's also causing drought all across the country. And needless to say, the heat is back and it is having some devastating effects.
Last year, more than a dozen people died in Spokane County during unprecedented heat. That heat dome, you might recall. According to the Spokane County Medical Examiner, 20 people died from heat-related causes last year. Of those, 16 were used by Gonzaga's Climate Center to create an interactive map.
So of the deaths that were mapped, most of the victims were in their 60s and 70s. According to the ME's report, most of their deaths took place in the victim's home, which had, quote, inadequate ways of regulating temperature.
Poorer neighborhoods, and unfortunately Spokane has too many of them, end up frequently having less tree coverage, and therefore they're more vulnerable. They may not have an air conditioner, or if they have one, they're not able to run it because of unable to pay the electrical bills.
This past Saturday, a group of volunteers drove through Spokane, mapping the city's hottest neighborhoods using sensors.
Henning hopes this data that is generated from this study can then be used to figure out a plan so that next time Spokane faces a heat wave, everyone can stay safer.
President Joe Biden declared climate change an existential threat while visiting Massachusetts, one of the many states experiencing a scorching heat wave this week.
At a manufacturing facility for offshore wind energy projects, the president announced some plans to boost the industry as well as executive action to help communities and low-income Americans deal with extreme weather.
For the first time, states will be able to use federal funds to pay for air conditioners in homes, set up community cooling centers in schools where people can get through these extreme heat crises.
The Biden administration says it's also prioritizing and enforcing workplace safety during extreme heat.
Since April, the Department of Labor and OSHA say they have conducted more than 560 heat-related inspections focused on high-risk industries like farming or construction across 43 states. Just one fire continues to burn in Washington right now. It is outside of Chelan.
It's called the Stamen Flats fire. It's burned about 1,200 acres so far. State officials say it is 30% contained. Within the last couple of hours, all level 2 evacuations have been lowered to level 1. And this means people living near the fire need to check for updates and prepare for a possible evacuation.
Well, new at 4 tonight, a UPS driver helped save the life of a 7-year-old girl who was pulled from a swimming pool at a resort north of Soap Lake. Now, according to Grant County Sheriff's Office, the child was not breathing. Then the UPS driver performed CPR, saving her life. She was then flown by helicopter to a hospital for treatment.
The Spokane County Jail medical provider will be paying out $24.6 million for the 2018 death of a woman in the Spokane County Jail. A key part of this case, more than 6 hours of surveillance video that was lost. 55-year-old Cindy Lou Hill was booked into jail in August of 2018 for drug possession. Hill allegedly told the nurse at the jail that she was a heroin user and in withdrawal. The nurse ordered guards to check on her every 30 minutes after transferring her to the medical wing. Court records show a camera close to Hill's cell recorded her transfer at 9:10 a.m., but the next video clip from the jail was recorded at 4 p.m. The county had no explanation for the gap. Hill died of a bacterial infection caused by a ruptured liver. The judge found the county was liable for violating Hill's constitutional rights and for negligence. The money will go to Hill's estate. Well, we are getting a better idea about crime in our state. The annual Crime in Washington report just came out.
And overall, violent crime is up. In fact, there were 325 murders in 2021. That's an increase of about 6% from 2020. Violent crime overall increased 12.3%, robbery up 10%, and aggravated assaults up 15.5%.
Drug arrests and fraud incidents are down significantly. In fact, the report shows a more than 60% drop in drug offenses, and as a result, 73% fewer drug arrests.
And one of the other big findings was there were almost 500 fewer officers across the state in 2021 compared to 2020. The Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, which is the one that gathered all of this data, says it is the lowest per capita rate of officers to residents that we've seen since they started tracking all of this data back in 1980. They say it's actually the lowest rate in the entire country.
Spokane County leaders have until tomorrow to submit plans for the homeless camp along I-90 if they want to access $24 million of state funding. And
the Department of Commerce says Spokane County needs to spend every penny of that funding on relocating and housing people on state property, including that I-90 camp near Freya. The Spokane and Spokane Valley are 2 of 5 cities that would have access to this money. First, though, the Department of Commerce says they need to know exactly how Spokane County will be spending all that money.
Local leaders say they know what they are doing with 30% of the money. $7.5 million will go toward adding more space at the Trent shelter and buying a motel on the Sunset Highway. Now, they wouldn't say which motel, but they did say it could house 110 people.
I agree that Camp Hope is not a good situation over there. Not from what's going on there. It's not a good situation. It needs to be broken up. It needs to do something different. I just don't see a mega facility, regardless of where it would be at, is a good solution for that.
County leaders have until tomorrow to submit plans for the other $17 million.
Spokane Valley City Council suggested coming up with their own proposal, and they have it again until tomorrow to submit a regional plan to the Department of Commerce.